a shorter video on my take on what's happening with Prosper Portland's proposed budget amendment. I'll try to be brief. If you don't know, my name is Joy Elise. My pronouns are she, they. I'm the president executive director of Imagine Black. We are a Black-led, Black-serving nonprofit that focuses on democracy. We focus on civic engagement. We do this work statewide, and we're trying to get us closer to Black liberation. We are a progressive group. We don't claim to represent all Black people. That would be impossible. There's no one organization who can do that, but instead we do work with progressive Oregonians who are interested in centering Black progressive values as we do organizing work, policy, and civic engagement. So let me talk really quickly, if I can, about what's happening. I'll say really quickly just my background. I have a master's in interdisciplinary urban design. For transparency, I've worked on like planning projects and urban design projects with Prosper Portland, Bureau of Planning Sustainability, the Portland Transportation Bureau, and other folks like Metro around how do we get vulnerable groups, frontline community members involved in helping to shape the work that they do, particularly around the built environment, urban planning, a lot of anti-gentrification and displacement work. I say that not to like boast or anything, but I do want you to know where I'm coming from. I also used to teach collaborative design at PNCA, really about how do community members collaborate with government around things like this. So really quickly, misinformation I want to say is that Prosper Portland is not getting defunded. That is not a thing. Folks who are saying that, I would caution you to actually take a pause and think about the language that you're using, to think about the fact that the defund movement is actually a movement that was built. It's a vision for care, not punishment. It was really designed to reallocate resources for collective good, to invest in care, to see it being co-opted by a handful of like well-resourced, privileged business owners in defense of kind of what they think is happening in the city is like really, I think, quite disgusting. It gives me a lot of, it reminds me of what like the Portland Police Association is doing. It reminds me of what conservatives do when they say we've been defunded, when they really haven't been, to actually create this false narrative that to victimize themselves, to say like the radical woke is coming for them. I think that's really weird for some business owners that I thought I really respected, that I actually have a little side eye in this moment about how they're showing up in this space. But what this proposed budget amendment is that it is a strategic swap from the money that Prosper Portland would typically get. So if you think about when you give your taxes, usually those tax monies go into the general fund. Sometimes, there's some bonds and things. If you're in a TIF district, that money is used in a different way. I would love to talk about that, but let's just say the money goes into general fund, and usually the city council, their job is to decide how that money is being spent, to weigh different priorities, to understand the things that we need as Portlanders to somewhat like weather the storm. Right now, all bureaus are getting a steep cut to the basic services that we as people who live in Portland rely on. So our parks, our water infrastructure, our housing, all of these things are getting cut. What this proposed budget amendment is asking for Prosper Portland to, instead of taking the money that they normally would get, to tap into a fund that they have. So they have a strategic investment fund. I understand that this fund was not designed to do what the city council is proposing them to do, or members of the city council is proposing them to do. But they're really smart people at Prosper Portland. They could make a shift. What's really happening, though, is it's a look on oversight and whether or not the city council has the right to ask Prosper Portland or to demand Prosper Portland to do the things that the elected officials have asked them to do. I think it's really interesting how Prosper Portland's board is threatening to cut everything instead of actually adjusting their budget and reallocating things. Of course, the Strategic Investment Fund can't keep Prosper Portland afloat single-handedly for years and years and years. That's impossible. That's not what's happening. They're being asked for 1 year to take money from a fund that they have access to and to fund their programs, to fund their staffings related to the equity work that they claim to care so much about. It's really strange that instead of doing their fair share, instead of being a part of the solution, they're throwing a tantrum in this moment. They're threatening to cut everything. they're trying to use BIPOC businesses as pawns in this like manipulative narrative. Like, yes, they don't get to control what business owners say. But when I see them in the chats just saying, thank you for speaking up and not correcting misinformation, I find that really manipulative at best. At worst, I think it's actually really dangerous. It is your responsibility as city employees to speak up when someone is misrepresenting the truth. Even if you don't like what's happening, even if you like, it's your responsibility. So I would caution folks to actually think about the role that they have in the city and the power that they wield. Prosper Portland isn't being defunded. For that to happen, we would have to take away their strategic investment fund and the general fund and leave them with no money. Just to be clear, the Strategic Investment Fund is not a fund that is privately managed, owned. This is the public dollars. This is our city money. So the fact that they're trying to like hijack it in this way, I think is really strange and weird for me. So just to be clear, when Prosper Portland, known as the Portland Development Commission, they have a long history of actively destroying the economic capacity of communities of color. That's not speculation. They have admitted to this. They have taken some baby steps of a new approach over the years, but when they choose to cut small business programmings, when they choose to take away equitable economic development programs because they feel like they shouldn't get the oversight that I think the voters asked for, I find it just really, really disappointing. I don't think that's an authentic way to do equity work. I know they're going to say things like, oh, well, we have a majority people of color board now. That doesn't mean anything to me. I don't really operate in check boxes. I am interested in like actually making sure it's representative of the city and that has a participatory approach. I'm not really interested in just saying just because they're of color that they are free from critique. I think that's actually really dangerous anti-Black language as well. But I think in short, I'm interested in Prosper Portland, not weaponizing us in this moment, not using us as props, speaking up when they see something is wrong. And I would like for them to do their fair share. Whether this passes or not, it's going to be up to the council. But I do want to remind folks, the Portland board is not elected. They're appointed by the mayor. They do not speak for all of us. I really do hope that they're interested in helping lessen the city's challenges. I hope that they are interested in being a part of the solution. But I think most importantly, I'm really interested to making sure that we are not letting any bureau have some unchecked power where they are interested in not speaking out against misinformation because it serves them. I think just Portland, we deserve better. We deserve a city budget that centers the many, not just the few. So yeah, I think for all the business owners, I'm watching you. There's a lot of folks that I deeply respect that I've given you quite a lot of side eye based off how I've seen you show up in this way. This is really about making sure our public dollars serve the public good, not just well-resourced or well-funded projects. This is really about making sure that we're thinking about the city as a whole, not just the portfolio of the economic development. There's a lot of important things that are going to be talked about in this budget process. The Portland Children Levy is doing like really weird things right now. Some really anti-Black things from my perspective. There's some really interesting and weird things happening with the Portland police budget that need attention. But instead of sounding the alarm on things that are really important, we're letting like a group of well-resourced business owners dictate the conversation and spread misinformation, spread lies to even small business owners who may not understand what's going on and use them as pawns. I see you, I'm watching, and I'm disappointed. Anyway, the city deserves better. CUNY deserves better. I have a longer video that talks a little bit more about all of this, but I really do hope that we have a moment of oversight and a moment where we get to have a conversation based off of facts, not manipulation. But okay, I need to go. I hope you all stay well. I was trying to get this down to 5 minutes. Sorry, y'all, to 9. Have a good day.